Hey,
Hi, how are
What's going
y'all?
hey,
on?
what's up?
Good, good, man. I was surprised. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, hi, good morning.
All right. Can you just introduce yourself for the people?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Kira Brown. I go by Room Full of Blerds here on Instagram. I am also one part of Blerds Eyeview. Um, yeah, that's
Yeah, shout
Uh,
out to Blerds, Eyeview. We love y'all. We
Thank
love y'all.
you. It's mutual, man, always.
I wanted to give you a chance to ask your question to Carl. Do you remember
Yeah,
what you
sure. So,
do you remember?
oh,
Oh, okay.
it's in here. Um, my question was, as a forced extrovert, how do you maintain your networking relationships with people once you get into this area of I don't even know what to call it, the networking or trying to get your ideas put out there,
Wow,
or just being
that's
a mechanism to be, being a port for people to get to other people.
yeah. That's a really good question because I definitely am a huge introvert, and I used to be like really shy, really you know like I didn't I would, it's crazy just seeing, because even like to this day, like to pitch stuff, anytime I'm pitching a show or a film, I go through so much anxiety, right? But nobody on camera can see it because I always ask people if they can tell. Nobody can tell, but I go through so much anxiety, and to this day, like it's something I still struggle with, to be honest. But my partner and wife, Love, she's a little bit more of like I guess a social butterfly, right? So a lot of times she'll kind of push me out of my comfort zone. So it's good to have someone that I think that can recognize that you have those kind of anxieties, or those or a little bit of that kind of introverted fear to do the kind of networking that you need in order to make the relationships. Having somebody that is the opposite of that, right? That can actually kind of just kind of nudge you a little bit out of it, because it is a big part of I think succeeding in this industry. Not so much just because like it's a relationship that you can utilize, right? Meaning like to get from point A to point B, someone to connect. It's not so much as that, but I just mean like there's so many people with so much knowledge, information, experiences, resources, and especially with our people, like we need each other. We definitely need each other. Like it's hard enough for anybody to make it into the industry. When it comes to us, it's even 10 times harder, right? So like we do need to rely on each other and to know each other and to really build those, I'm talking about genuine relationships with each other, so that we can help each other in a real way. And that doesn't necessarily mean plugs and connects. That could just mean information. That could just mean you hipping me to what's going on at this particular network or this studio, or the experiences that you had. And look, I'll say this. I one of the things that I do sometimes, like when I'm struggling with that anxiety, is because I've been dealing with anxiety all my life, and I've just now gotten to this point. I'm sure a lot of us have, right? So, but I used to have like really bad like anxiety attacks, and it would just kind of cripple me, and not literally, but I'm saying, but I won't walk into a room, or when I know it's a group of people somewhere, important people. I've missed jobs. I've missed like big jobs, showrunner jobs, because I didn't show up to the meetings. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what I mean. So but one thing that I started to realize is that, especially for a creative, because we're imaginative, right? When you mix the imagination with the fear of what could potentially go wrong, it's it's a mess, right?
It's
And
crippling. It
it's,
can be crippling.
it is. But if you can push through that a few times, right, and see that things never play out the way that you might think they will, right? The worst case scenarios don't usually play out, and always go back, revert back to that thought, to what you were thinking before you went there and how it actually turned out. Like when I saw, I had to remind myself, like, yeah, I was feeling this way one time before, but then when I got there, none of that happened. You know what I'm saying? And I just keep constantly like reinforcing that until I start to be more self-aware of the anxiety taking control, you know, so that way you can get it before it spirals too much. But the other thing I stopped doing, honestly, was, you know, because some of the fear would come from, like, you know, like, not only what could go wrong, but also like how I'm being perceived, right? Or like what people are thinking about what I'm saying, and what people are thinking about what I'm pitching, what people are thinking about me as a person. And I stopped being so, and that's, it's probably easier said than done, but I stopped being so concerned about what people think, right? And just really tuning into what I fucking like about it. Like if I love an idea and I'm really passionate about it, I gotta kind of say, like, fuck what people think. If I really believe in it, right? So like, even if they don't like it, it doesn't mean it's bad. Whereas before, I used to feel like if I pitched a show and the network hated it, I was like, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to be in this business. I'm like, I used to think I am not fit to be here. Like I used to, so I think a lot of us suffer from some imposter syndrome, right? Because to this day I still feel like I snuck in the back door of the club. That's kind of like I don't. There's many days where I'm questioning whether or not I have the ability to stay in this business, you know, to this day, you know, so that plays a part in how, you know, your whole overall confidence, but also, like, you know, you gotta, in this business, it's all about pitching, right? So you're gonna be in rooms where, even if it's a Zoom and you got 20 white people looking at you like, go, you know what I'm saying? And they turn off their cameras, and I mean, turn off their audio. So even if you're pitching jokes, you're not gonna hear them laugh. So all you're doing is you're pitching to these pictures of people, you know what I'm saying? And it's a really hard thing to do for introverted people. So I guess the only other thing I'll say is, the more you do it, I think the easier it gets to some degree, but it's because it's more psychological. You just have to constantly override those thoughts. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's just but
You got to like trade out big voices, like the big voice in your head. You got to trade out for what the reality of the voice in the room. If I think that makes sense.
Right, but also the other thing I didn't do in the beginning was remembering that these are people too that I'm talking to. We're all people, and they all have fears and anxieties too, and they all have insecurities too. You know what I'm saying? So I think the more you can remind yourself that you're still talking to people, because one of the things that started helping me with pitching, and it's weird because because I'm so afraid, I get so nervous to pitch, but I actually have I do really good, you know what I'm saying, despite it somehow. But one of the things I started doing was, and I learned this, I used to sell cars, like a long time ago, I sold cars. And one of the things that my manager had told me was, he was like, don't ever talk about the car, right? He's like, because I was thinking, well, we're selling cars, so I just need to talk about cars. He's like, no, you're not selling cars, you're selling people, right? He said people want to connect with people, you know, and he said, so stop thinking about the cars at first, right? He said, just think about the person and try to connect with the people on a human level. So a lot of times what I'll do now is, like, when I go into a pitch meeting or any kind of meeting, I try to set aside all of the things that we're really there to talk about, and just actually learn a little bit about the people we're talking to, and actually make a real connection with them, you know. And it could be telling a joke, or it could just be talking about something personal that's going on with you. And the other thing I noticed is, if you expose if you're strong enough to be vulnerable enough to expose some insecurity or something about yourself that's flawed, right? It usually puts everyone else at ease. You know what I'm saying? Because it creates a certain kind of intimacy with the people you're talking to, where they feel that you're comfortable enough with them to talk about something like that, right? And then it just opens up a little bit more. It's like, it creates a certain kind of energy. So these are just like little things that I've over the years, I just started to gather, and I started to make a part of my repertoire. So like now, I don't just jump right, because I've seen people pitch where they just jump right into the pitch, and it's cold. The room is cold. People aren't receptive, and it's not that the idea is bad. They just haven't been able to connect with you yet. You know what I'm saying? So I know this is probably going outside of your question, but all of it
No,
kind of, you
no,
know,
it fits because if you make that connection with those people by being vulnerable, then that's an easier way for you to continue that relationship going forward. You've made that connection.
yes,
So
absolutely.
it makes sense to me.
I can go a little
Okay.
longer, Chris, too, if we need to, by the way.
All right. Well, yeah. Can I invite one more person up?
Sure.
All right. I think I think this next person you might find interesting also, Kira. I said that name right, correct? It's Kira? Okay.
What's up, second in command?
What up? What up?
What's going on, Carl? What's happening, Chris?
You got it.
Hey, what's up, man? I figured
Uh,
I'd make it interesting.
it's always interesting when two of us is at least in the room.
It's good
Well,
seeing you, man.
the
Seriously.
What's
Blerds
going
are all
on?
the Blerds are all here.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So it's funny you mentioned about connecting with people. That's something that I learned to do like 3 years ago, which is why we're where we are now. And that's how it is. That's just how it can be sold. Sometimes you have to connect with that person or people to kind of get that room right, to get the room. You gotta kind of read the room. You gotta read the room.
Yeah.
Um, so that I definitely agree with that. I do have a question, and it's something
Well, well,
that me
well,
and later.
before you ask it, did I ask your question properly earlier?
I don't know. I probably didn't catch it. I didn't
Oh,
Yeah,
probably didn't
yeah,
catch
I
it.
think you did that for like 2 seconds. I caught it, but I think you. I'm gonna mind my business. Hold on.
No, go ahead, because I had to pop in, pop out, pop in. So I don't know. I might have missed it. But you, you, Carl, along with several. There's a small circle of Black animators that's out there that are known. Some of them are unknown. Do you think that this wave is getting bigger? That this is as Lady Mandalore puts it, there's a renaissance happening.
Yeah, I think the wave is getting bigger, but you know, the part of the problem is we don't want to work together. You know what I mean? Like I think you see more of us, right?
Hmm.
But we're separated, and so we're never going to really be able to position ourselves to really create more opportunities for the culture if we each individually are successful, but we're not building a brand and a place where we can curate new talent and create a pathway for up and coming artists, and actually because that this has been a thing I've been struggling with for the longest, man, and trying to like get everyone on this page. And look, it's probably unrealistic to get everybody on the page, but I think if you get like if we get a core group, of people that really see the vision, like what we're trying to do at Marshall Blueberry, a big part of what we're doing is curating. A big part of what we're doing is on the aggregation side, right? So it's more about like, it's more about creating an umbrella and a collective, right? So we can establish ourselves as a brand that can continue even when we're gone. But I think what happens is we become so desperate to get our foot in the door and to make a name for ourselves, right? That we forget about a bigger picture and how we can improve other people's lives. And when I say improve other people's lives, I'm not just talking about other artists and creators that are trying to get into the space. I'm talking about, this is what I was mentioning a little bit earlier, we're integrating some blockchain technology and Web3. I know NFT is a curse word. We could talk about that later. But we're integrating this technology because into Marshall Blueberry, because it creates an infrastructure for ownership, right? And I don't mean just ownership for creatives. It creates an infrastructure for each and every person that is a part of the platform and a part of what we're building, right? In any fashion, to have equity and stake in it, right? So I bring this up because I'm saying that we as Black creators have to be a little bit more responsible and think more inclusively and not so exclusively. You know what I'm saying? Because when you start thinking more inclusively, we're considering everybody that brings value to what we're building.
Right.
Everybody that brings value to the art that you're creating should also be able to benefit and profit from it because they're contributing to the success of it, right? For example, you got games, right? So you go on Twitch and you see guys like Kai, right, that are bringing so much value to the video games that they're playing. I would say a large percentage of the value, most of the games that are popular, a large percentage of the value of those games now is coming from people talking about it and playing online and filming themselves and building an audience around them as a personality playing that game, right? So how come those people playing the game don't have any equity in the game itself, or even the platform Twitch, right? So with Marshall Blueberry, our goal is to bring enough of us together under one umbrella and one brand, and to be and to try our best to get people to see the benefit of the bigger goal here, right? Which is to truly create an authentic Black creative agency, right? That allows each and every creative to still have ownership over their own IP. We offer many different verticals to explore before going the Hollywood TV route, right? So that you can actually, have a more equitable conversation once you have a pre-existing IP. When you go to Hollywood now, it's a different conversation once you got toys, comics, games and clothing, and it's selling, and you got a community that you built around it. It's a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? And so these are the things that we're pushing really hard for, so that we're not just trying to hustle to get the next job to have our name in the Hollywood Reporter, right? And I think a lot of Black creatives now, I love, like I said, I love that we see more of us. It's just now we have to start thinking about how do we turn that into legacy. You know what I'm saying? How do we turn that into something much larger than ourselves, so that the people coming after us won't have to go through the same fucking shit that we had to go through to get our foot in the door. You know what I'm saying? Because there's not a lot of people that's looking back. We're supporting them because we love to see Black people in that position, right? But how many of them do you see actually looking back and creating a real pathway for you, who has no experience and no way in, right? You know what I'm saying? No relationships with the industry. Because one of the things that helps to push me in this direction was my DMs would be flooded with people with really, really great ideas and extremely talented writers and artists, and I meet all these people, and I'm just like, yo, they have no idea what it takes to get their art made. Like, they just don't know, right? So that's one thing, is the knowledge. The other thing is the resources. Most of us don't have the resources. They don't know how to get the resources. And then the third thing is the relationships and the access, right? Because you can't just walk into Netflix, right? Like they got this shit set up in such a way where the average person is just never going to get their ideas seen if they don't know somebody. So all of those things bother me so much. Like I would lose sleep at night thinking about just the fact that we constantly have to go through all of this bullshit in order for our art to actually be seen. So it's a long-winded way of saying, yes, I do think that there's a lot of advancement happening, but I think we could do more collectively.
I'm gonna send you some stuff later. I'm gonna send you some stuff later. We got to talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would really love it if we could all figure out a way for somebody in your position, Chris, Kevin, Carl, what is this man's name from Monkey Paw? If y'all were talking to each other, Jordan Peele, behind the scenes to start telling secrets, it would open up so many more doors. And I feel like I don't know what's allowed for y'all to talk about, because I'm sure everybody has NDAs, they can't talk about things. But if there was a way to make a collective of y'all as executives to start telling on people, that would be amazing. That would go a long way. However, lawyers exist, so do with that what y'all can.
Well, but I think
I'm kind of like, screw the rules.
Well, but you know what I like about what you're saying is, and this is, I think this is really, really important, is transparency to the public. I think goes a really long way, right? Like if we can have open, honest conversations, with the public, and because look, no one. This is why I think the biggest problem with capitalism is it doesn't. Obviously, it doesn't benefit everybody. It benefits a small group of people, right? But I don't have a problem with capitalism as a whole. But I'm talking about the way. But the way we've been introduced to it, it's like it profits only a very few people, and no one's really transparent about the moves that are being made. So it's hard to trust anyone. Like even in Hollywood, it's like hard to trust anyone because
Yeah.
everyone lies and puts on a mask, and there's a lot of passive aggressiveness and politics and bullshit. So you don't really know who to trust. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that doing something different with our organization, right, where there is more transparency, and if there's nothing to hide, you should have no problem with being transparent. And I'm just talking about in general, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that comes down to from industry secrets, right? Things that you need to know in order to sell your ideas, all the way down to how the money is broken down and how and actually allowing people even to weigh in on how the profits are even broken down and because here's the other thing that a lot of people don't know, right? So like so you sell a show, right? You sell it outright in perpetuity. This means the studio or whoever's paying for it, they're gonna own it outright forever from here out into the universe forever, right? Which is crazy in itself. But so you'll be hired to produce the show, right? So you'll get a fee for that, right? And then you get back end, what they call back end. So that's a percentage, percentage of the profits from like merchandise, toys, whatever, right? Streaming now they have some stuff. But anyways, the problem comes in with the accounting because we don't truly know what that film or TV show really profited, right? So I've never seen any back end. I haven't seen any back end on anything. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not like I think there's a couple of checks for a couple of dollars, but like I'm saying, no real back end, right? Now, I look but I do understand that like if I wanted to, like I guess I could audit the studio, right? But who's going to audit the studio? Have that hit the trades, and you never work in Hollywood again. Anybody audit the studio, right? Or they got big time lawyers that are ready to go the length, right? So you have to have the pockets to go in and prove that you should be getting more money, and hopefully that amount of money is more than what it's going to cost you in lawyer fees. So it's already set up in a situation where you're not going to win, right? So but these are things that most people don't know. To your point, so it's like, why shouldn't we share these things with people that especially our people that are coming into the game? Because we got enough obstacles. Hollywood in general has enough obstacles to hurdles that you got to jump. So those are things that affect everybody across the board. But then when it comes to us, there's even it gets crazier because now you got like some things culturally that they may not feel like translates, and you got to have those kind of battles and fights like for the culture and the way the specificity of and the nuances of our culture and our stories and how we want characters to be portrayed. Those are arguments and fights that you have also because there's a push since the streaming platforms are now global, right? There's a push to make all of the content palpable for everyone. So you'll see a lot of stuff that when it comes to comedy specifically, that's extremely broad, right? But a lot of times going very broad to reach everybody, you end up reaching nobody because what we connect to is authenticity. So you take away the authenticity, the less specific it becomes, right? So those are things that you fight that you as a Black creative, those are things that you have to fight for, every step of the process. And most of the young guys, young people coming into this game, they don't know about this shit. So why aren't we telling them about it?
Everything.
I'm sorry, I sometimes go on a tangent.
No, I need that tangent because everything you're describing is everything that me and Kira are currently a part of, and are actually working against that chain of issues that's coming on. What we're a part of is just that,
Hey, can I ask you guys a quick question?
Yeah.
Can you guys, because I believe Kira had mentioned it to me. Can you guys explain to Carl what Blerd Station is?
Wow.
So Blurred Station is an upcoming streaming service, and it's black owned, and it's PLC created content. So like right now, they are getting ready to film the Undead Horizon. They're currently doing scouting locations for the Undead Horizon, which is created by the Snack Bandits, Jarrell Patton, and his 6-year-old daughter, who's a makeup genius,
Miss
Dakota.
Dakota Pates.
Yes. So what this streaming service allows is you own your content, right? But this allows the consumer to jump onto the Affinity membership and not only pay your $10.99 for 36 months, but then own a part of the company after that 36 months is up. Then on top of it, so not only do you still own your stuff, you own your content, your whole content. The consumer gets to see a part of it. They get to see themselves being represented, and they get paid. Everybody gets paid.
That's dope. Yo, we gotta talk offline, man. We gotta build.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Kira had told me about them a while back, but I never got a chance to make that connection. So I was just wondering, do you think you guys can help facilitate getting Blurred Station connected with Carl?
Yeah.
I've been locking people in for the past 3 weeks. Trust me, I'll take care. I've been moving.
We got details and connections, dude. No, don't worry about that at all. That's the easy part.
Yeah. You'll have something before the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay. And send it to me as well, just so I can have a reference in case I need to send it to anyone else on our team. Because usually when it comes to the day-to-day stuff, Carl has his duties and responsibilities, and I have mine. So I definitely want to make sure everything gets facilitated properly.
I got your emails and everything, and I'll include Kevin and
Let's definitely connect. I can go about another 20 if you're okay, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, I want to make sure we get some other people on the chat, on the live stream too. What was your question?
I'm gonna dip because they're coming in, and I have to hold them and do things and do my job.
All right.
All right. Thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you too.
No problem.
Bye.
All right, peace.
So Carl pretty much answered my question about this new wave of POC content and creating animators and just going above and beyond and being seen. And as I mentioned just a few moments ago about Blurred Station, there are several coming on board already. So yeah, I'll send you that information.
Yeah. Send it over. I'm looking forward to it, bro. Please.
Yeah, that's why, but just seeing, and Carl, you've been getting your flowers ever since you were showing up on our show. You folks have just been giving you the flowers, from DreamCon and everywhere else, and Ozzy and everybody, because it's the truth, man. And it's like what you put out there and what Aaron helped create and what you helped put out there is an amazing thing. Shout out to you and Matthew Cherry for Young Love, because that's an amazing series. And so just seeing that type of content being put out there and seeing all those people really getting their stories being told. And that's what we're all about. It's just tell your story, because we need to be seen. I am a card carrying, flag holding supporter of Lovecraft Country. I will stand on that hill till I die. So seeing those type of stories and pushing the narrative and then making it come to life is needed. It's definitely needed, because not only do we respond to it, but other people respond to it as well. The conversation that always comes up is there was a point during the 90s where you had Living Single, you had Martin, you had UPN, you had all these Black-centered shows that were dominating the network. Yeah. And now they're gone.
Yeah.
And what took their place? So now we're trying to it seems we're the creators. We're the creators.
Because you know what it is? It's the same thing that happened. It happened during the Blaxploitation era. It's the same thing that happened. Look, we get them hot. We get the studios and the network hot. Why? Because we represent the culture. We you know what I'm saying? So when anything that we touch, we make it relevant, and we make it important, and we make it a cultural you know, a cultural what do you call it, moment in time, right? So it's like once the plane is off the ground, then you don't see a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, on these networks or these or you don't see our stories being told anymore. And that's what I'm saying. This is why I think the power is in the unity. And I know it sounds cliche, but it really is.
Yeah,
the power is in the unity because you know, at that point we can position ourselves to have way more way more opportunities to distribute our own content, number one, but also if it's kind of like, you know, I look at what happened with hip hop, right? Like there was an opportunity for Russell Simmons and some of the pioneers of the game on the business side to really not only protect the culture, but to actually have, but to own it in a way. You know what I'm saying? Not own the culture, but I'm saying, but at least have, you know, have enough real estate in the culture to where we can control the course of where it goes and how it's being treated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because once it gets out of our hands and we just, you know, we sell ourselves out for $1 and we sell ourselves out for yes. and you know, it's no, I'm just saying, you know, once that happens, it's I lost my train of thought, but I get what, everything okay? Okay, at 2, right? Okay. All right. Sorry. Yeah, but no, but what I was saying is that, you know, but it's always the case. It's like Instagram wasn't anything until like Snoop started, like, you know what I'm saying, blowing Instagram up. Then all of a sudden it became a cultural phenomenon, right?
Right.
So it's like, why, and Snoop has no equity in Instagram. You know what I'm saying? There's no stake in it. You know, but this is it goes back to what I was saying before. You know, I think you know, and just to talk about Web3 again a little bit, right? You know, because the way I like to explain it to people, because I know it's confusing to understand, and this is part of the reason why we don't see a lot of you know, creatives in it. You know, number one, because they don't truly understand the space, and they only see it from the perspective of capitalists and crypto guys that are bringing like more of a stock market kind of culture to the Web3 space, right? Mm-hmm. But our experience in Web3 and NFTs has been really, really amazing. You know, just the community building aspect of it alone is something really, really important for everything that we do. You know, we have to build community, and community, you know, community is everything, bro. It's like, you know, part of the reason why the streaming platforms are kind of suffering right now is they have subscribers, but they don't have the eyeballs. And the reason why they don't have the eyeballs is because they don't have engagement. And they don't have engagement because they don't have a community, right? So they don't understand why they have all this. They spent billions and billions of dollars on all this content, but no one's looking at it. Everyone's eyes is on TikTok and Instagram. And, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Well, that's because there's communities there. You know, that's because there's a place where people can be a part of the story and not just be passive consumers watching stories, right? You can be a part of the stories being told. You know, it's the reason why people are in the selfie that they're taking of you and, you know, whoever, right? It's like we're in a new era where I think, you know, what's important, this engagement that they're looking to get, that it has to come from an authentic place. That's why I say it's community oriented, because when you have a really strong community that believes in something and they're passionate about whatever it is, let's say it's the Boondocks or whatever, you have a community of people that believe in it and it means something to them. It's meaningful, right? And they participate in bringing value to it. So because most companies don't really see the value in the people in the community that's actually making it hot, right? They don't give them any equity or stake in it, you know? So that is the shit that's got to change, you know? And so when I talk about Web3, is Web3 has the technology or the infrastructure to actually execute that in a real way, where each person can hold a literal, or not a literal, physical, tangible piece of property rights, but a digital representation of their property rights for that particular IP. So when that IP begins to, you know, become big and become successful, they also own a piece. It's like having like one of the first Mickey Mouse cell drawings, right? From the first Mickey Mouse film that Walt did, right? Like that today, looking at the success of what Disney has become, that today would be worth a lot of money, right? So so the point I'm making is what we're trying to do in the future and what we're building now with Martian Blueberry is we're putting there's a technology component or a Web3 component that is integrated into the IP creation so that it does offer people to be stakeholders, not shareholders, because shareholders only benefit a small group of people at the top. Stakeholders, anyone can be a stakeholder if you're supporting and bringing value to the IP. And this is game changing to me. You know, this is to me the future of all content, and I think on the animation side, this is where we're starting first. You know, so yeah.
No, I totally get it. Hey, Chris, I'm gonna let you go. We definitely gonna talk because we gotta talk about Blur Station. But I'm gonna let one more guy come in, and Carl, I'm gonna let you go too because I know you got a schedule to maintain.
Yeah,
I was gonna say DM me your email just in case, so I'll make sure all the contacts are still up to date. Just go ahead and drop the DM in the Blerds Eyeview chat, or the you know where to find me.
I got you.
just drop me. But yeah, I'm gonna take care of y'all. Y'all gonna have the information before the day is out.
All right, bro. All right.
Thanks, man.